So, what's a shoe? That answer coming right up. Good day and welcome back to Canadian Formal. I'm Curtis Allen, and I have a passion for making the men of the Great White North look and feel their very best. So, what is a shoe? That is the question of the day, and it might not be as easy an answer as you think. Outside of being just a piece of material surrounding the foot to protect it, we have come a long, long way from that definition. And we will be diving into the vocabulary and the various things you will need to know about what makes a shoe and what makes different shoes, well, different. So let's get started. So do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell for more notifications for upcoming episodes. So we have got a example here of a formal dress shoe, well, semi-formal really, and that is because it is a wingtip. Now, wingtips, along with cap toes, are probably the most notorious dress shoe styles. And that is because of our first definition here, and that is the toe type. So this is a wingtip because it has broguing, and if you look at where the blue is, and this is why I've chosen a two-tone shoe, is because you can see where the blue is, and at the top where that broguing is, how it expands down the length of the shoe, about halfway down the length of the shoe. And those are the wings of the wingtip. So within those wings, you've got the toe box. And what the toe box is it is the measurement at the widest point from side to side. So many dress shoes, even off the rack, can be bought in various different widths, depending on the designer. This is a Kenneth Cole patent leather wingtip, and it is just a regular width, but you can get narrow or wide or even extra wide, though those are harder to find. But different designers have different definitions for what is and is not wide. So a British shoe company may have a different width measurement than a Italian shoe company, for instance. So the best way to do it is simply to find the most comfortable pair of shoes you have and measure that width, or measure your actual foot width at its widest point, and that's usually right behind the big toe and on the other side behind your smallest pinky toe. So that is important to keep in mind. Just because it says it's wide and that's what you usually get doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fit. And that's another reason to always try on your shoes and not just to assume, oh, I'm a 10, therefore every 10 is going to fit me. That will not always be the case. So behind the toe box leading up to the lacing system, we have got what's called the Vamp. And the easiest way to remember what the Vamp is that's where all the creases in your leather shoes go. Because that's where it flexes as you step, is the Vamp. So the Vamp is right below where the lacing system is. So with dress shoes, you're generally going to get a lacing system of anywhere from 2 to usually 5 eyelets. So that's our next definition. An eyelet is the hole that the laces go through on either side. And what that allows you to do is to cinch up the laces and the whole shoe around your foot to really give you a secure fit. And that's why there's a little bit of give when it comes to laced shoes. And the more eyelets there are, generally the more supported your foot will be within the shoe. So that is important to keep in mind as well. The other factor with fit is going to be the heel cap. So as we work our way back, we hit the heel cap. And that is usually a thicker leather or reinforced in some way with canvas or a pressed board material to keep the heel very stable within the shoe. So the heel cap is very important, and the width of the opening at the heel is important for comfort, because many times if your shoe is uncomfortable, it is likely going to be pinching around the heel cap. And that is because, unlike with running shoes, dress shoes are going to usually just be rolled leather. So there's not a lot of cushion around your heel. So it's very important that you establish a good hole opening at the shoe. So do keep that in mind, because often it'll feel very comfortable in the store, but then you'll get it home, wear it to the office, and it's more than just something that has to be broken in. Usually if the heel cap is still pinching and digging into your heel after a few wears, it's likely going to stay that way. So you want to make sure it is as comfortable as possible while you're wearing it. On the other hand, if it's too loose, your heel could slip, and that could provide blisters and discomfort in the heel as well. So that is something that you can easily avoid if you're getting custom shoes, but not so off the rack. So you will want to be mindful of that. So with those basic definitions out of the way, let's move underneath the shoe here. So we have got underneath here a leather sole. Now very often you will get leather soles on dress shoes, though rubber soles are not unprecedented. But I always like a leather sole, and what this has is a combination heel, which it is a stacked leather heel, which means they take a piece of leather and they nail it to the leather sole of the shoe, and then they add another piece of leather, nail it in, another piece of leather, and so on and so forth until they get the desired height, and then they cap it with a piece of leather and a piece of rubber to provide more durability. And the rubber piece is always at the back of the heel, because that's the part that's going to wear out first. And if you catch the wear fast enough, what you can do is have just that rubber piece pulled off and a new rubber piece inserted, so you won't have to replace the entire heel block. So that is important. Another thing you want to look for are these little nails that run along to make sure it's nailed in and it's a proper leather, because manufacturers are getting better and better at faking various elements like that. But those nails are usually the real deal. And you'll also find the nails along the toe. And what you can do is, if you get this resoled and you notice that your toe wore out very quickly on the original pair, you can get what are called these toe taps. And these are metal pieces that are nailed into the toe to provide more durability. And speaking of resoling a shoe, this type of shoe is the easiest shoe to have resoled. It is what we call Goodyear Welted. And what a Goodyear welt is you have a piece of leather that is attached to the sole, and it is stitched through. And so you can find the stitches on the underside of the shoe, or if, like in this case, they have provided a butterflying of the leather, opened it up, pulled the stitches through, and then they have covered where the stitches are to provide a cleaner, more formal look. In many cases though, even in boots especially, you will see that they are showing, and it does not affect the durability of it. It does not affect whether it can be resold or how easily it can be resold. It's just a visual, depending on what you're looking for. So I like to have it opened up, stitched, and then covered again. So you're going to see that it protrudes from the upper. And what that does is, by putting that piece of leather across, is it provides a cavern where you will apply hot glue and a cork material, and then you will put the upper onto that. And what that does is provide a little bit more comfort, because as you wear it, that cork will mold to the shape of your foot. And that is just excellent, and can be done with some off the rack, but always done with custom shoes. And that's something that Goodyear Welting allows to have happen. So that is our episode for today. Hopefully you now have a better understanding of what makes a shoe. I'm Curtis Allen with Canadian Formal, hoping you will stay stylish.